Deji Oduntan. Let's appreciate Deji Oduntan. Deji Oduntan, please, where is he? Deji is, okay, it's coming, yes. Okay, the co-founder, CTO, Kobo 360. Ife Oyedele. Ife Oyedele. Can we back there? Yes, thank you. The managing director, Wakanow, Obinna Ekezie. Obinna Ekezie. The MD, Ingressive LLC, Maya, Horgan Famodu. Let's appreciate Horgan. And to moderate this segment, please put your hands together for, as I invite the managing director of MEST, Aaron Fu. Let's appreciate Aaron Fu. Hi, Aaron. Thank you. Aaron will be coordinating this segment. Hold on, sir. Yes, where is? Wow. Yes, sir, anyway, sir. Nobody can determine where he's. So, Mr. Aaron, are we ready? Is everybody? Have I caught? Is everybody? Ife? Where's Ife? Okay, oh, great. Okay, so you're Maya. Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, Mr. Obinna. Yeah, we're good, yes. Do you all have Maya mics? Sir. Okay. Sir. Okay, good, yeah. Okay, so we're going to do this, if you don't mind, we're going to do this for 30 minutes. This is 5:10. Is it possible? I know we are late to be asked.
We've got some of the best startup founders in Nigeria on the stage, so we can do anything.
Yeah, that's it. We'll go, but I know that. Let's appreciate him. Let's appreciate.
All right, hi guys. I hope everyone had a great lunch. It's always a little bit tough to get some energy after all that food. But I hope to get some questions from you guys later as well, so please begin to think about that. My name is Aaron. As introduced, I have the pleasure of running MEST in Africa. We're the continent's biggest tech incubator, and really happy to have a strong presence here in Lagos. But more importantly, on stage with me, I have some of the key players in the Lagos ecosystem, as well as two founders that have really put Nigeria on the map, as if it needed any more putting on the map in recent days with their successes and their fundraising. So really, really glad to have you guys here on board for sure. You're very busy running very big companies. Cool. I think maybe let's begin with a bit of an overview of where Nigeria's ecosystem is now, and sort of your thoughts on what we can look forward to in 2019. I know it's not January, but I think it's still okay to talk about our hopes for 2019. So maybe as we go across the panel, I'll let you introduce yourself, as well as what you think are going to be the top things that the audience should be looking out for 2019 in Nigerian tech.
Thank you very much, Aaron. So just a quick introduction. My name is Deji Oduntan, and I'm the CEO of Gokada. Gokada is an on-demand motorcycle taxi service, and we move people around the streets of Lagos, in a safe way, in a very affordable way, and in a smart way. We allow people to move around Lagos without being hindered by traffic, and we pride ourselves in being able to empower, hundreds of thousands of drivers, right? And that's where we want to go to. So thanks for having me here. It's really interesting. To jump straight into the question, to give perspective as to where the tech ecosystem is, right now, I would say in the past few years, a lot of things have changed. One big thing that we've noticed is the perception of the local tech ecosystem here from foreign investors. I think the reputation of our ecosystem is it's improving, right? And then we've also seen a bit more successes with respect to the tech startups that are operating here in Lagos. You have the likes of Andela, you have Paystack, Flutterwave, and startups that have raised considerable capital and are showing a lot of traction, moved outside the shores of Nigeria, to go to other countries. So because the reputation is improving and there's this traction that people see, there's the interest from investors who are now willing to come to the tech ecosystem to see what's happening, and to help us build this ecosystem. So those are some of the things that have sort of changed over the past few years. I would say in the next couple of years, what we could expect from the ecosystem is, I would say, more local more local VCs, for instance, coming up, and a reduced reliance on international VCs, which is very interesting because local VCs are able to understand the challenges that are peculiar to us, right? So having more local investors coming up to fund companies, it just makes it better, and we're able to grow faster. So I hope that answered.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Ife Oyedele, the CTO of Kobo 360. Kobo 360, simply put, is Uber for trucks in Africa. So we supply trucks with our app, mobile app, to large enterprises and even SMEs. Simple technology where the customers and our clients go in and place requests for trucks, and our system matches them with drivers and truck owners based on several parameters such as geolocation, the truck type, and destination. So it's been an exciting year for us. We're in Nigeria. We've been in Nigeria for about 13 months now and going into Ghana and Togo. To answer Aaron's question, I think the last 13 months has been evident that Nigerian youth are not lazy. Only
in the last 13 months? I mean, come on.
I think, going forward, I think we're going to see a lot of Nigerians taking giant strides. We're very ambitious people, and the international community is noticing that, and even the local community, like Deji mentioned, is noticing that. We don't carry last, as what people say. When it comes to technology, when it comes to agriculture, in any industry, we always make sure we are keeping along with the trends, and we're always setting paces. So it's going to be interesting. I've spoken to several VCs and funds, private equity firms and funds, and you can see them setting up shop in Nigeria, coming to focus on West Africa. So it's a very exciting time. I'm excited for the youth, and I'm excited for the startups that are going to be coming up this year and in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you. You know you're on a Nigerian panel when like all the talk is about all the big money coming into the country, right? Anyway, yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Horgan Famodu. I'm the founder of Ingressive, which is a market entry and market operations firm. To date, we've worked with more than 50, almost 60 top venture capitalists and technology companies, assisting them to enter and operate across Africa. Last year with them, with our partners, we launched a $5 million early stage venture capital fund. So you may or may not hear of an announcement next week about funding. So that's on me. As far as what I expect in 2019 or to happen in the next year, firstly, I think we're finally going to see those in positions in power in government taking really seriously things that attract foreign direct investors, and also SME helpful or policies that really take seriously founders and what's good for the technology sector. You've seen even recently Rwanda establishing their international trade platform with Alibaba, this online trade platform. Like what? This global e-trade platform? That's brilliant. And I only foresee more of this coming out as people start taking seriously voting and also looking at their political leaders in what they can do for the SME and the startup ecosystem. And secondly, I think we're going to see a lot more unsexy tech. Not that Kobo is not sexy. It's very interesting. But I don't know if 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, Uber for trucks would have been translatable to the foreign investor. And I think in the last year, before it was e-commerce and fintech, things that were directly applicable that were in foreign markets, just bringing them here. But I think this morning I sat with a company that's doing Uber for ships. Like what? Innovations in cement, innovations in agriculture, that more tech overlay in traditional industries that are Nigeria-specific opportunities. And I'm really excited to continue seeing the innovation and creativity of the Nigerian entrepreneur building businesses that are for Africa and will thrive on the continent.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Obinna Ekezie. I'm co-founder of Wakanow.com. hopefully most people in the room know Wakanow. We're about 10 years old. We're in the online travel business, selling flights, hotels, packages, and rest of our travel services. I can say that I can consider myself a veteran in the tech space because I think we started this business about 10 years, 11 years ago, when there was literally nothing on the ground here in Nigeria in terms of even the payment ecosystem and all of that. So we did all of the initial work to help build that whole ecosystem. We just finished a capital raise last year, late last year, with the Gokada group for $40 million. So, thank you, but it was a very difficult process. Most of us here know how difficult the economy has been the last 2.5 years. So it was a very difficult process for most companies, and I'm sure for most companies in Nigeria who rely on technology, who are technology companies, because in terms of resources, we do rely a lot of international resources when it comes to development and coding and all the rest of the stuff. So I think one key focus for us, hopefully aside from the political elections that are coming up in the next month, I'm hoping that this year will bring a lot more innovation and interest in the tech space, especially from the younger ones who want to go into the tech space, especially in terms of development. We need a lot more developers in the country. We can't ignore the fact that technology is here to stay. And I'm really keen on the educational part of making sure that our young people are given the opportunity to learn software development, coding, and the rest of them. I think that's a major area for job creation. I like the work that Andela is doing, but I have a little bit of reservation because I think a lot of our talent has also been exported. I think we need to keep a lot of our talent here and find ways to keep our talent here in Nigeria. So I'm excited. I'm also excited about the fact that a lot of entrepreneurs are coming up with brilliant ideas. Like I spoke to a CEO of Gokada, a very interesting business. I was actually laughing the first time I heard about it. I thought it was very exciting. Even Kobo 360. I think we've had a conversation before, but we've never met. So there's a lot of stuff going on in Nigeria. I think personally, I've been very, very immersed in building Wakanow. I'm also looking to see how I can get more involved in sort of in the incubator stage and learn more about what companies and new opportunities are coming up in the tech space. Because a lot of innovation happening in Nigeria. As Maya said, a lot is happening.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, everyone, for sort of laying the scene for us. I just want a quick feel of the audience. How many of you are founders as well or are in a startup? Anyone? Maybe a small audience. Oh, it's a left side thing. Okay, got it. And, I think a lot of founders always have this struggle initially where they ask us, should I focus more on making money or should I focus more on growing my user base? Right? And I think, before you even can talk about large global VC money, you've got to kind of sort some of this stuff out. So I would love a founder perspective as well. As sort of you work a lot of investors, Mia. Would love your perspective on that as well. So do you want to share? Which one should I go for?
So I would go for the customer base. Yeah. And that's because, even if you don't make any money, when you grow your customer base, that's value that you're adding. Because the customer on the long run is the one that generates demand for your product, is the one that generates the need, and that's why you're in business. And, taking from Facebook, right, for a couple of years, they didn't make money, but they were growing their user base. And then they just changed their customers from non-paying customers to paying customers. So user traction, I would say, is key. If you don't have traction with respect to your users, then the business would most likely fail.
Cool, thanks.
I just want to quickly address something that Maya said. If you've ever been into a papa, you will know that trucking is not a sexy business. But to the question, I think I agree with Deji. User base is very, very important. In fact, that's the most valuable asset of any business. Just like Facebook, WhatsApp is a very, very good example. I mean, without charging anybody, I think in 2 years they had 300 million users or something like that. And that was what they sold. They had nothing but users. So growing your user base is very, very important, and it eventually translates to revenue, to growth, to money.
Call me old-fashioned, but I think you should be making money, or at least have intentions to do so. I think, I don't want people to get mistaken. I understand growing your user base, developing a viable product that there's customer retention and people are loyal to your product and stick with it. Those are really important. You're not going to have a business unless that's what you have. Money is just a metric to measure loyalty or the value you are creating to your customer. It's a metric, but it's a necessary metric. Otherwise, what are you going to do? You know, this is still Nigeria. We're still in Africa, as in investors. We're de-risked in some capacity. There is capital here, and there is a viable and vibrant tech ecosystem. But if you're looking at the companies that are raising from international investors, they're not ones with 0 revenue and 1 million users. Let's be true. Like, the companies that come out of the Y Combinators and Raise and et cetera, those guys have great numbers, as in with a $ in front of it, when they're presenting at demo day. So I just want to stamp a little bit of reality on excuse me for dampening the conversation, but numbers are important because money is not as accessible. There's not as much of a supply of accessible venture capital here as there is in other markets. So build a product that people love, gain retention, that's the most important thing, but also take seriously, you have to pay your bills and you have to make money. Like, as a VC, you should make money.
You got to pay salaries, yo.
Yeah,
Okay, so very interesting what Maya said, and I think at this point I would need to add, right?
Controversy
so the question,
already.
Sorry?
Controversy already.
So the question was either this or, but truth be told, you know, when you have cash in the bank, you know, it just helps you with your runway. I mentioned Facebook. They obviously had raised millions of dollars, and they had that cash to take them to the point when they started charging. Of course, you would get to a point where you need money to even keep your business afloat. Yeah. So in our own case, you know, when we started last year, we were caught up in that wrong perception that only, you know, users is what we need to grow the business. And it got to a point where, you know, from a financial standpoint, we almost crumbled. So, truth be told, yes, there's value in growing customers, which, if I were to choose, I would say once there's an upward growth with customer base, I know that, yes, this is a valuable business. But once you see that you are losing money and maybe it takes you 2 years to sort of get your customers to that escape velocity where you want to start charging, but your money doesn't get you 2 years, then you need to think twice. But if you have enough money to take you 2 years without charging, fine. So I think it goes hand in hand, right? It's not good to just have one metric to track. You know, now we track an array of metrics: financial metrics, operational metrics, marketing metrics, so many of them. So I just wanted to add that perspective, you know, to what Maya said. So she's very correct. And in Nigeria, where you don't have enough capital as you would get outside the country, it makes a lot of sense and also wise to also look at your financing.
Wait. Okay. Really quickly, one more thing to say, to add to this. So, one, I agree with what you're saying, but I think we should keep clear 2 things. One, that money, like raising money, should not replace your inability to get customers to pay you for your product. It's used to grow really fast. Like, if you want to turbo boost your growth, then you should be raising capital. Not, hey, people won't pay me for this thing that I keep trying to force them to use. I'm going to raise money so I can try to force more people to use it. So there's a difference there. And the other thing is, I heard this once on a different panel, and it's stuck with me. I want you guys to remember this. The money you get from your customers is the sweetest money you can get. Why? Because you don't have to pay anyone back. It's yours. You can keep it. You can do whatever you want with it. If you take venture capital money, I'm not going to just want the money I gave you back. I'm going to want 10 times more than that. Actually, not even 10 times more. I'm a VC. I'm going to want like 1,000 times more than that. So just keep in mind, when you're thinking to go out and be raising money, that you get that $50,000 now, you give away your equity. I don't want $50,000 back. I want $50 million back, plus.
I think what Maya is saying and what Deji is saying is, we're not Facebook, we're not in America, so once you find product market fit and you've grown your user base significantly, launch your product, monetize it right away, and start making money, start growing.
Please.
Can I speak now?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I'll give you a story about how we started. We always, I think when you start in a business, you must make money. I told you, you must make money. Now, the question is that when you're acquiring customers, there's a cost to customer acquisition. So if you're in the early stage of your business, you want to acquire customers at a very fast rate. So profitability may not be the first focus. You want to grow your customer base, generate enough revenue to be able to cater to your operations. But in terms of margins, you also want to you may have to put a little bit of sacrifice in margins to be able to grow your user base. So that is the area that I just wanted to add. I started having debates on here, but you have to be focused on what level of sacrifice do I make in my margins to grow my user base. That is what we started. We started as a low margin business, and as we continue to grow our user base, we're able to negotiate better rates with our suppliers, with our partners, and that's where we're able to increase our margins. So we didn't increase our margins by charging customers more. We increased our margins by negotiating better rates from our supplier, whether it's the airlines, hotels, and the rest of them, to be able to increase our margins so that we can always be competitive in terms of our pricing to customers.
Wise words, wise words. I think for all of us, when we think about charging our customers, I meet a lot of founders who are very afraid to charge their customer because they're afraid to lose them, right? And I think that's the test, right? The moment you can actually charge and someone is paying for your service, like Maya was saying, it's the sweetest money ever, right? So don't be afraid to charge when the time comes. While we have some of these, more established founders on stage, we'd love to also pick their brains on where they are now, right? Because at one point you were an idea, at one point you were a few guys in the room, but now something tells me you have a thing called compliance, and you have a thing called HR, and you have a thing called legal. Talk to us a bit about that journey, sort of where you came from and where you are now, and was it what you expected? Is it still as fun?
So I think we are still a startup, I would say. In another 1-2 years, we probably will still be a startup, but there are different stages of a startup. When we started in February, it was just an idea. And, since then, we've actually had a lot of ups and downs. And, the next 1 to 2 minutes would not even give justice to what we've gone through. But yes, now we are at the phase where we would term it probably growth phase, because it's at this phase where you've sort of learned all the lessons that you needed to learn, and you've identified what is required to scale your business, right? So when we started off with about 100 bikes, and we were still trying to figure out what the right business model should be. We started off with the traditional Uber Taxify business model, where we would charge a commission off trips. We did that for a couple of months, and we found out that wasn't working because our industry was peculiar and was different to other industries. We thought the motorcycle industry was like the taxi industry, but it was very different. So we switched from commission model to a fixed remittance model, right? Which is what everyone in the transport industry does. So you give the bike to a driver, the driver pays a fixed amount every day, which inherently incentivizes the driver to do more so that he could make more money, right? So from the business model standpoint, that was one of the learnings that we learned. From the tech standpoint as well, we found out that it wasn't easy to build a ride-sharing platform, right, in a country like Nigeria, because in terms of the data, to even launch an app where you have like various map screens, there's interconnectivity between the driver app, the user app, and the server at the same time. There needs to be a high level of data, right? And we found out that people who are using the app were having issues with the app. It was not loading right. There were issues with the pricing. Because it's a GPS app, you could have pricing at 1 million just because, in the routing, you lose one data point because the internet tripped off. So those issues, we face them. But now, I would say we are at the growth phase because we've fine-tuned our business model. So we know we have a clearer understanding of what our unit economics are. We have a clearer understanding of who our core customer segment is. We know how much they're willing to pay. We've moved on from the other segment that wasn't willing to pay, as you rightly said. And now we are putting plans in place to scale the business, beyond the few locations that we operate now.
But now that you've figured out these big challenges, which were sort of, proper startup-like problems, right? What's bothering you now that the big stuff is out of the way?
So the big stuff is not out. Is not out of the way. The business model. So the business model right now currently runs on financing. So in order for us to empower drivers, we have to finance the bikes for the drivers, right? So on one end, we've experienced huge customer growth, and that's because a lot of our customer acquisition costs is ascribed to the fact that our bikes are branded. So the marketing message just it comes out when you are in traffic and you see the bikes. But because we need to finance the bikes, that's our biggest problem right now.
Yeah. Super. We want to move things along a little bit, but I would love to hear from Wakanow because of your long history, right? So way back, you said 10 years ago, and until now, what has been the most different thing, and what has been something that has stayed the same? What do you feel is still core to Wakanow?
Hey, what's today's date? Today's date is what?
February
what?
10 years. Sorry,
February, what's today's date? Today's date, February 8th?
Yes.
February 8th.
Wow, today's 11 years for us.
Wow.
Today is 11 years for us. Yeah, so today's 11 years. So I would say the early stage was extremely difficult for us. Like I said, there was interswitch. I remember when I used to be a professional basketball player. Maybe people from my height, people can tell. So when I moved back to Nigeria in 2007, I had invested in the US on a startup that was trying to do what called meta search. Didn't work out. So when I came back to Nigeria, I saw there was no OTA in Nigeria. I thought it was a massive opportunity. So I came back with my partner, Ralph. I met my partner here. And we went to Interswitch. Interswitch was just one office. They had just one online payment. They hadn't even launched it. So these are the issues that we faced at that time. There was no online payment gateway. We had to work with Interswitch to finalize that project. And so a lot of the issues that we face now that you want to launch a payment gateway, you have multiple options, Paystack and Flutterwave, and these things didn't exist when we started. We had to work through all of these issues. We had to open multiple accounts, like 25 accounts with different banks. So a lot of these issues we faced in the beginning, but as you see that there's a lot more innovation in the payments, it's in the whole ecosystem, and so we're seeing. That's why we're always trying to stay in terms of be ahead of the game in terms of innovation on the payment side. So in terms of capital raise, this is our third raise. So I think in terms of capital, we've raised a significant amount of money. The company has the opportunity to grow even more because the opportunity in Nigeria is quite massive. We think that in terms of growth opportunities in Nigeria, you look at the numbers, about 200 million people, only 12 million people travel. And we know that most of the reasons why the demand for travel is still very high, but the biggest issue we have is consumer financing. Most of the banks, there are no credit cards in Nigeria, at least very little. So we have to find a way to infuse some form of consumer financing in our product, we have a product called Pay Small Small that we're paying particular attention to in terms of funding that and making sure that takes off, and that's something that we're very excited about launching in next week, by next week or next few weeks to really make it scale according with this new investment. So we're really excited about the future of that product and how we can help people make travel more affordable and plan earlier and be able to book in time and save costs. Most people don't know that. At least I think people should know that when you book earlier, you save money. And most Nigerians do book late, and that's why travel is more expensive. So the company, I think for us, is at a position where scale is now what we're really looking for, increasing inside the business. We're looking at expanding across West Africa, especially, and some parts of East Africa.
Beautiful. I'm conscious of my man in the bow tie. He's like the angel of death.
Knock up on us.
How much time do we have left? 5 minutes? Okay. And wow, 5 minutes is hard to completely wrap up, but I would actually like to give the 5 minutes to the audience. Hopefully we can take 4 quick fire questions. Hopefully 2 from this side, 2 from this side. Again, it's very rare to get all of these guys on stage. So can we have our microphones out?
Okay, quickly, if you have questions, quickly come forward quickly. Or can we give them, Fidge, can you quickly give the mic to the bishop at the end? Okay, let's leave it, yes. So this question is for you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And if you could introduce yourself, where you are.
Because...
All right, good evening. My name's Avery Thomas-Moore, and I work at Axion Venture Lab, which is a seed stage fintech fund.
I told you.
And we help people start fintech companies, so if you're interested, come see me. But my question is for all the startups here, none of these are fintech companies, but fintech is raising so much.
Yeah.
I'm just curious but data is a huge issue, and so you guys have a lot of consumer data that fintech struggle to get. Have you guys thought about fintech options? I know Wakanow just mentioned it, but I guess I'm curious for Gokada and Kobo.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Add, eh?
Yes. Thank you. Fantastic question.
Yeah.
So fintech is something that we are definitely looking at, and that's because, as you rightly said, we are a consumer-facing business, and unlike traditional fintech companies, to acquire customers for us isn't so expensive because people want to move around. So we would have, a huge customer base, we'd have a huge driver base, and then we could leverage on those 2 platforms that we have to put a payments system, put a wallet system, and then leverage on the customers and drivers, to grow. So it's definitely a space that we are looking at actively.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, you want to add to it? Thank you.
So fintech is also very huge for us, especially because we're playing in the B2B space. And as you know, with any enterprise in Nigeria, everybody does bank transfers. It has to go through 3 levels of signatures before we get paid. So that's something that we're working on. We're working with some very, very exciting partners that you've heard their names on to build some custom solution for our platform, and which we can scale across West Africa and possibly East Africa as well. So I would definitely have our eyes focused on fintech.
One more. For me, this is the fintech part of our business, which I just mentioned, which pay small business. Fintech plays a key role. Now, we have the Wakanow Fintech division now, which is a separate business where we're also looking to raise even more capital to fund and finance travel. So that's a critical part of our business, and we're really excited about that space.
Thank you.
All right, cool. I think we have...
Okay. So, quickly. The mic is behind you.
Hi guys, my name is Eto Pikpe. I'm the CEO of Class 45. So everyone that's typically sitting down has some element of some real hardcore operational component of their business. So Obinna, you deal with the travel centers. Ife, you're working a lot with trucks. You deal with bikes. And so there's a lot of sort of integration of online to offline, right? Real stuff you're dealing with, a lot of people, a lot of operational management. And there tends to be a lack of focus on how much is different from running a pure play consumer internet-based product. So how has that been different from you, right? Merging sort of just product development with real life, sort of HR, operational management as well. So how is that for you guys?
Well, that's every CEO's, every founder's problem here. Nobody's immune from that problem. We all know that people, especially for Nigeria, people, first of all, is the most important part of your business, and also the area you must pay particular attention to. So, and it evolves. I think early in our ecosystem, sometimes investors will ask you, what is your churn rate in terms of your staff? And I've listened to a lot of entrepreneurs globally. I think when you're starting the business in Nigeria, what is key for you is to find the right people. And I would advise any entrepreneur in Nigeria, we all make mistakes. We hire the right people, and we hire the wrong people. I think the most important thing for any startup in Nigeria, or especially in Nigeria, is if you have the right people, do your best to keep them because they're not easy to find. And if you have the wrong people, do not hesitate to send them away. That's all I have to say about that because it's difficult enough to run a business, and you don't want the wrong people in your organization, but you will definitely want the right people.
I think it's the same for, it's the same for all founders. What we do, and I'm excited for the young people that have joined our staff in recent months, because they almost become product owners. They almost become entrepreneurs in and of themselves, because they have to be innovative about how we can automate several of our processes that have been, for the past several months, very manual. So we work together with our team. The young guys, we're seeing them take up big risks and challenge the bosses and the executives and say, hey, how about we do it this way or that way? And we implement it, and it's working. So we've been going back and forth with our investors and advisors on how to automate certain of our processes. And we can see the young guys in our company making these decisions and thinking on their feet. In fact, the most recent thing is two of our engineers came to us, to me a couple of days ago, and they said, hey, we're building version 2 of our application, and we just want a place where we can hone in from Monday to Sunday. Nobody goes home. Just get to work, build this product, because we can't be doing several processes manually anymore. So that's actually very exciting to me that they took that initiative, and we're really excited for the future.
All right, cool. Can we get 2 more questions? Keep them short.
Okay, so we move to. I'm sorry, Bishop. Let's just take one. I don't know. Okay, can we please get the mic to him? I'm sorry, please. But I'm sure they'll come there because we need to. So you tell us your name and then your statement. Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Adebayo Shegun. My question is very simple.
I know.
To the panelists, what is your advice for the startups, for we just coming up? What is your advice for us?
For we just coming
One
up,
magic bullet.
Have a good product, have a good business, and you have to make money in the beginning.
You have to make money in the beginning.
Yes, start making money, because there's not a lot of money out there to go to everyone. I think Maya said it, she's a very, you have to make money from the beginning. What works in other markets, like you say, keep spending. We don't have a lot of cash burn rate in Africa. There's not enough money to burn. So it's important that you have a very good product that customers and is solving a particular problem. You just don't build a product that doesn't address any issue. So you must solve a problem. And once you're able to solve a problem, customers are willing to pay for it. If they don't pay for it, then you have not found the solution. That's what I would say.
All right. Famodu, you want something to say?
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Though you can do sprints. So like product build sprints and growth hack sprints and things like that. But no, really, from the way that you handle mental health, from the way that you handle your relationships, think of the long term. The way that you even handle your cash burn, think in the way that you operate your business from day one and on, that this is a long-term thing. So the people that you're building with now, the people that you're growing with, the people that you screw over now, are still gonna be the people you screwed over in 10 years. So just be really mindful of the fact it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would say be comfortable making mistakes. Be comfortable making mistakes.
Did you hear that part? Be comfortable making mistakes.
And that's because when you are on this journey, as Maya said, it's really long, and there will be very long days, there will be very long nights, and there will be a lot of decisions that you might have made that when you look back, you will probably ask yourself, why did I make this decision? But irrespective of that, be comfortable with whatever decision you make and always be open-minded, right? I think the combination of those two things can be very powerful, because once you are able to make mistakes and you are comfortable with it, and you are open-minded to understand, where you went wrong and how you could sort of learn from it, those two things can be powerful. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, when you started, how many bags did you start with?
100.
So now how many do you have?
Close to 1,000.
Close to 1,000. Let's appreciate, yeah. Thank you. So, you like this? Okay.
I think also to add to that is, add to what everybody said is, if you have a good idea, you have a good product, you might get rejected a lot. So don't be afraid of hearing no. Some people may turn down your idea. I'm sure you've heard of the Airbnb story. And even for us, when we started, we thought, we had a great product, but we pitched it to some people and they're like, it's not going to work. So if you believe in your idea, always try to don't just toss it aside because somebody says no. and always be coachable. I think one thing we do is that we're always willing to listen, we're always willing to learn, and tweak our ideas because we don't know everything. We're definitely not the smartest people in the room. So don't think you're the smartest person. Always get advice. Even if you think your product is the best, somebody can actually give you 1 or 2 tips that can make it actually better. So definitely always get advice and don't listen to no's.
In the spirit of being comfortable making mistakes, I made a mistake that I said 4 questions, but I think we need to wrap up at 3 because that was just such a great question to end off with. I want everyone to thank the panel for their time. I'm really looking forward to coming back next year and exploring if some of these predictions are going to come true, right? So we talked a little bit about, more and more local investors coming online, continued influx of global investors coming through, Nigerians not being lazy when it comes to building tech startups. And I don't think I could have said it any better than my friend here, which is make money from the beginning, because it is about making money, isn't it? Looking forward to seeing you guys next year. Thank you for joining us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to invite the CEO to join them to take pictures at this time. Talking about new business, I'm sure when MainOne was going to start meeting the chairman, Mr. Fola Adiola, he thought she was overambitious, and see where we are today. Once again, can we appreciate the CEO of MainOne? Amazing. Let's appreciate her. Please, I'd like to stand here. Well done, sir. Sir, don't look down on me, please, sir. Yes, sir.